Hello, this is Evan here from the Trade Risk on Wednesday, September 16th, 2020. We are intraday right now, and this is our weekly swing trade ideas video where we bring you stocks based on specific technical price patterns, all of which we're going to discuss in detail in just a moment. As always, these videos are sponsored by our partners over at Investors Business Daily. We curate ideas from their stock lists. You can get access to their stock lists with a link in the description of this video. So the way these videos work is we are going to look through a handful of different sort of pre-built TC2000 scans that we have on our website. If you're interested in learning more and downloading them, there's a lot more information on our website for each of these scans, but they vary from momentum to reversals to pullbacks, and they are essentially looking for short, intermediate term price action patterns. So let's get into a couple of them. Or actually, before we even look at the any of the specific scans, you know, we've been talking about IWM as a trade idea. In fact, it was listed as last week's trade idea. And this is something we've been discussing in our videos as a potential kind of sector rotation, maybe call it a new leadership group. But while technology takes a breather, small caps starting to, pull their weight, hold their weight in this market. And we're starting to see that. We've basically been using this 153 area as our line in the sand. We talked about this yesterday. We got the close, we got the marginal outperformance. We're seeing that continue today. So it seems like this trade is on in terms of developing here, getting back into this range. Whether or not this leads to a breakout, it's tough to obviously say, but getting continued rotation maybe into the top of this range would be pretty interesting. So that's just the first thing I wanted to bring up and mention. That was, again, a trade idea from yesterday. And I should mention we're probably about 10 minutes or going to be in the middle of recording this as sort of Fed and more headlines are hitting this market. So we are intraday. Things are probably going to move around. So let's keep that in mind. So the first thing I like to do is always hit on just the new 52-week highs on volume scan. So this is, I believe, a free scan on our website. And it's very simple. It's just looking at stocks hitting 52-week highs on volume. So these are things that, maybe if you don't like chasing them, on this particular day, they're things you can add to your watch list. And the universe of stocks that we are scanning against right now are IBD's watch list, so Investors Business Daily's watch list, and our TR 150 watch list. That's our universe of stocks. So IIPR, this is one here, breaking higher on volume. Pretty actionable, actually. It's a REIT, and it's breaking higher out of this consolidation to new 52-week highs. So that one's pretty interesting. APPS, this is number 2 here. Had a strong day yesterday, almost broke out. In fact, it did actually close at new 52-week highs yesterday, and it did it on heavy volume. And you're getting your classic sort of follow-through day today, and then take a look at this big old earnings, or I'm not 100% sure if that was earnings. Suspect it was, but you have this nice kind of gap and go here. This thing has been on a complete tear since the March lows. I mean, this was trading at $3.64. It's trading at $30 now. That's 750% return in just about 5 months. So and this is a it's a almost $3 billion company, so it's not tiny. Certainly a lot smaller down here, but APPS, that's our second one. And then INSM, this is biotech. Biotech's been getting a lot of rotation recently. You can see had a nice move here on Monday of this week. Strong follow through on Tuesday, strong follow through here again on Wednesday. It's quite extended in the short term, but certainly emerging from a very tight actionable base. And if we zoom out even further, take a look at where this is emerging from. This is pretty interesting, especially for you longer term traders here. Weekly chart potential breakout in motion here for INSM. So that is our first round of stocks we're looking at. Our second scan that we're going to look at here is just a simple scan. Some traders like using this. A reclaim of the 200 period simple moving average. So if we were to kind of throw on this grid here, you can see that this stock was below for a couple of weeks, the 200 SMA, which is this yellow line on my chart. Now it's breaking above it, doing it on, with some conviction here. Some traders like to look at this as sort of a rebound trade, a deep retracement trade. So this one here, LLNW, is one hitting that list today. The next three stocks on the bullish side I want to show you are divergence scans or stocks. So these are stocks that are printing right now momentum divergence, either through MACD or RSI. And so the first one is EFX. So this is Equifax. You can see it's at the bottom of its range right now. And if we were to throw on this view here, so this is looking at our MACD divergence indicator that we've built out. So it sort of systematically, points out when there's divergence. And you can see it's printing right now at the bottom of this range. So I like this setup. I like these types of setups here when you get divergence, lower end of ranges. EFX is one. I believe ARCE. Another one here, Arco. So let me go back to this chart here. So you can see coming back down to the bottom end of this range. And if we were to take a look at some of the divergence here printing, you can see that this is occurring here. Again, divergences don't have to play out immediately. And they're not necessarily a buy immediately signal, but they are good kind of evidence that you should be looking for potential reversal signs down here. Last but not least, CWH. Camping World. This one's printing on, this one must have just, so it looks like it's really close because before I hit record, there's probably been some movement here. I think at the lows of today, this was already starting to hit some bullish positive momentum divergence, and that's actually starting to, it's not present now because it hasn't sold off to these lows, but if you look at Camping World here, if it sells off a little bit more, you're going to start printing that divergence there as well. So those are all of our bullish setups, a couple of different looks there, a few different stocks that we're pointing out out of the different many scans. A couple of the bearish ideas I wanted to highlight were all sort of bear flag type of looks. So if you're into shorting stocks here, if you think the market is ready to roll over or make a second leg lower, particularly in tech, something like a Dynatrace DT right now. So take a look at this. You had kind of a steep sell-off here, right? So this is where tech obviously got the swift steep pullback a little over a week ago, and now basically you've got this little sort of weak looking bear flag wedge that is forming right now. So if you're a believer in tech kind of breaking back down again, you've got all this supply up here. It's actually a really nice looking kind of bear flag short setup here. If it starts losing these lows below 38.50, maybe that's your trigger. Maybe today's your trigger. Lots of ways to play it, but that is certainly a bearish idea for you. GRUB, so this is GRUB. Kind of a similar thing here. You got this kind of weak looking bear flag that's been forming. It's been down a lot over the past couple of, let's call it a month. But it was, it's been basically just grinding, bleeding lower here. And you can see it's kind of flagging out, looking pretty weak as it, attempted to move back to the upside. If this starts to roll over, I think that one again is interesting on the short side. And Akamai. Akamai looks very similar to DT. So basically, you had this impulse leg down, and now you're getting essentially this very weak looking wedge slash bear flag type of pattern here developing into this rebound. So you've got the big leg down, you got the weak thing, you got the weak retracement, you've got overhead supply here, and then if this starts to actually roll over, take out these lows, could be looking at a pretty swift second leg lower. So a couple of ideas on all fronts basically, and you got to be nimble in this market. There's lots of cross currents. That's what we've been talking about in our weekly analysis videos, and hopefully you get something here that looks interesting. So again, do your homework on all these names. Make sure they fit and they make sense to you. These are technical patterns. You still have the hard job of actually executing on them. Where do you sell? How much do you buy? How many shares do you own? When are you getting out? All of those things, they have to come from you. They can't come from these videos. There's a lot more that goes into, the actual execution process. But hopefully you find this interesting. Thanks as always for tuning in to these trade ideas. There's a lot more information on our scans on our website. So if you're interested, go check those out. Have a good rest of the day trading. We'll see you back here on Friday for our long form market analysis video. Take care.